Next up, we have Jake doing something. I'm not clear on what it is. He never shows us any of the text before we record.
This is a surprise for everybody.
He's a monster.
I purposefully do this because...
Should we do a trigger warning here? Is it bad?
Yeah,
okay.
it's bad.
So there's a trigger warning for what?
Everything that you could imagine.
Sexual violence?
Yeah.
Physical violence?
Well, you know what? It's a trigger warning because it's making light in some ways of the horrible things that happened on Epstein Island for the sake of comedy.
So unless you enjoy a hilariously ironic child rape story that rings like a Jack.
There is no
Reacher.
There is no actual rape in the story.
Oh, okay.
Letting you know, but
it's better than my story.
But it's implied. So when I was trying to come up with a story for this, I was looking around just to see who has been on record visiting Epstein Island, and who would be the funniest sort of narrative that we could delve into. I will tell you that much of the events that I'm about to describe are true and did happen, and some of it I made up. So without
this is good. This
is gonna be,
that's a great thing.
You guys are gonna be
just a fucking potpourri of fucking shit. Who knows what's true or false? Jake at his best.
So without further ado, I bring you Stephen Hawking goes to Epstein Island.
He did. He actually did. He really did go to Epstein Island.
It was March 2006. 21 internationally renowned scientists were gathered at the Ritz-Carlton St. Thomas, one of the most exotic and beautiful hotels in the world. The occasion was a conference titled Confronting Gravity, a workshop to explore fundamental questions in physics and cosmology.
Confronting gravity. The Frisbee.
But that was all bullshit. Hawking knew that. The conference was founded and hosted by Jeffrey Epstein, and if there was one thing Epstein didn't have, it was an understanding of gravity in any sense whatsoever.
He is dumb. I can verify that.
Nope, Hawking thought, just like everyone else, he was there for the girls.
I'm actually corroborating so far.
Hawking sat in the back of a dimly lit auditorium, listening to Gerardist Hooft blather on about something or other. He chuckled at the idea of telling his speaker machine to yell, "Boring," at full volume at the bumbling scientist, but seeing as he had accidentally knocked his speaking wand onto the ground about 5 minutes earlier, the lecture would unfortunately go uninterrupted.
So bad.
This is bad, you guys.
Yep, it's bad.
I
Trigger warning.
I know it's
for
bad
stuff.
I know it's bad. One of his handlers had told him that Epstein had arranged for private planes to take members of the conference over to his private island once the lectures were finished. Hawking had heard all about it. Orgies, young women, sex slaves. Even Hawking's multidimensional imagination couldn't even fathom such sinful treasures. And throughout the entire conference, he often caught himself drooling at the prospect of them.
Quantum physics of molesting a young girl.
Of course, his dick was useless. That ship had long since sailed. But that didn't stop Hawking from enjoying less illicit pleasures.
What is wrong with you? We cannot publish this.
Of course, his dick was useless. That ship...
Don't reread the line.
That ship had long since sailed. But that didn't stop Hawking from enjoying less illicit pleasures, like having boobies dangled in his face.
He did go to strip clubs.
A text from his handler blipped across his laptop screen. Boarding soon. Hawking moved slowly, his motorized wheelchair gliding across the sun-soaked airstrip.
Hawking moved slowly. Okay.
Hawking moved slowly, his motorized wheelchair gliding across the sun-soaked airstrip where a beautiful Boeing 727 sat glistening in the hot Caribbean sun.
Yep.
He recognized a couple of guys hanging outside the plane. He knew Clinton already. He had participated in dozens of conferences at the White House and various science galas. There was a strong odor of marijuana in the air, and as Hawking got closer, he realized the smell was coming from a large doobie the guys were passing around.
What are you, a fucking boomer? A doobie?
Hawking recognized one of the men as the African-American actor from The Fifth Element, the 1997 film starring one of Hawking's favorite actors, Bruce Willis.
What? I thought you were going to say Chris Tucker.
It is Chris Tucker.
Okay.
Who is on record as going to Epstein Island.
100%, yes.
100%. As the guy standing...
No, actually, he was brought to Africa by the plane.
As the guy...
He did not go to the island.
As the guy standing... Well, my story has him on the island.
Okay, cool.
As the guys standing around the plane noticed him, they seemed a little... As the guys standing around the plane noticed him, they seemed to be taken a little by surprise. "Hello, doctor," Clinton said in his smug southern accent. Hawking brought the chair to a stop and began typing a message into his speaking machine. What is up, my dudes? Who of you is ready to score some young pussy? The group was silent. Hawking could see them glancing at one another. After a couple awkward seconds, Bill Clinton spoke up. Hey, Chris, this is Dr. Stephen Hawking, one of the smartest men in the world. Wouldn't know it by looking at him, though, huh? Clinton and the other guy laughed. Hawking fumed inside. Fucking dumb hick, he thought, but instead pressed a pre-programmed laugh that cut through the air like a knife. The other man offered Hawking a closed fist. Hey, man, nice to meet you. I'm Chris Tucker. Hawking wiggled his arm as best he could towards the man, but...
Wait. Chris Tucker was fist bumping him?
Yeah.
Okay. Everything is wrong with you.
This is so bad.
Everything.
It gets worse. Hey, man, nice to meet you. I'm Chris Tucker. Hawking wiggled his arm as best he could towards the man, but knew deep down it was useless. Who's ready to party? A booming voice echoed across the runway. It was Epstein, his shirt already off, bounding towards them, a lit cigarette in his hand. He jogged excitedly over to the men. Oh, man, Stephen, are you ready for the fucking time of your life? Yes. Hawking typed excitedly into the voice machine. Clinton crossed his arms and glanced over at Epstein. You sure it's a good idea? The way he said it rubbed Hawking the wrong way. Clinton was a fucking bully and everyone knew it. Hawking was used to it. Everyone just assumed because he looked the way he did that the idea of fornication was completely foreign to him. They couldn't have been more wrong. Honestly, it was all Hawking thought about. In fact, not many people know this, but he came up with the idea for a multidimensional universe one day.
Travis is no longer aligned with the microphone. He is just looking off to the side with both hands clasped to each other to his mouth.
I'm listening to this amazing story.
Sorry.
In fact, not many people know this, but he came up with the idea for a multidimensional universe one day while watching pornography on 12 different computer monitors. Shit, it was practically the only reason he came to this hot, humid jungle in the first place, to set wheels on Epstein Island and find a girl who literally couldn't say no to him. He looked up at Epstein with hopeful eyes. Epstein grinned wide, revealing a set of yellow, rotting teeth. All aboard! The plane ride wasn't particularly memorable. Bill was talking with Chris Tucker about a young black politician from Illinois who threatened his wife's future presidency. Whatever Bill was saying, Hawking could tell the actor was incredibly uncomfortable. Hawking awoke from the jolt of the plane's wheels hitting the runway. Everyone gathered their things, and a large ramp unfolded from the side of the plane. As he descended the ramp, Hawking could barely believe what was in front of him. About 20 girls, the oldest of which looked barely 21, stood in a line, welcoming the plane's inhabitants as they made their way onto the tarmac. A giant blue and white striped building with an ornate golden dome stood dramatically on the hill behind them. As the girls waved and blew kisses... This is so bad. I'm so ashamed. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this. You
Power through it.
Okay.
Dude, you're crying again.
I know.
What the fuck? There's fucking tears.
Okay. As the girls waved and blew kisses, Hawking could have sworn he felt his penis gently turn over inside of his underpants.
My God.
Fuck.
Why? You're ruining this podcast.
One of the young women, a redhead... Oh my God, this is so bad. One of the young women, a redhead wearing what looked like a cut-up potato sack and shackles, seemed to lock eyes with him. Nervously, Hawking scanned his machine looking for the proper introduction. Your procedure lurks above a road, the machine squeaked out. God damn it, Hawking thought. The girl glanced over in Bill Clinton's direction, quickly losing interest. Before Hawking could type anything else into the box, he felt...
Wait. Your story has Stephen Hawking not able to seduce a child sex slave.
He had a bad autocorrect.
Okay.
He had a bad autocorrect on his machine.
This is fine. This is...
God damn it, Hawking thought. The girl glanced over in Bill Clinton's direction, quickly losing interest. Before Hawking could type anything else into the box, he felt himself being whisked in the opposite direction. Someone was pushing him, quickly, towards a pier where a large boat was docked. What about the girls? Hawking managed to type as he was shuffled on board. As he was shuffled on board, Epstein responded, There'll be plenty of time for that. But Hawking wasn't too sure. He looked forlornly in the direction of the shore as it got further and further away from them. And here's a picture of Hawking on Epstein's boat.
Listener, there are literally multiple nude women on a boat, and okay, I don't even know what to say.
I got to show Travis. So that's Hawking right there on the boat, and there's like naked women, and there's Epstein. There's Epstein, and God knows who else.
Yeah.
Some time passed on the boat. Clinton and Tucker were attempting to catch fish with deep sea poles attached to the stern of the ship. Epstein had fallen asleep on a towel, a burning cigar dripping hot ash into a tangle of thick gray hair covering his chest. Hawking was bored out of his mind. He checked the digital clock in the corner of his screen. It had only been 45 minutes. Any feeling he had in his penis had long since faded. He attempted to chat up a young brunette, asking her if she had any interest in what time might look like from the fifth dimension. But all she wanted was to use his computer to call for help. After what seemed like hours, Hawking spotted the Golden Dome and knew they had finally made their way back to shore. Sunburnt and low on batteries, Hawking...
Go on. Low on batteries, huh?
Hawking propelled himself towards a covered awning 100 feet from the water. To his delight, some of the girls were there. Bill Clinton pulled a pair into his lap. Chris Tucker was pouring shots of expensive liquor into 10 golden cups. Hawking spotted the redhead from earlier, sitting with another scientist from the convention, drinking neon-colored cocktails. He squinted at his keyboard, loaded up a carefully thought-out conversation starter, and crept slowly in their direction. A strong hand grabbed his shoulder, sending jarring waves throughout his body. It was Epstein. "You're not going anywhere, Doctor. I've got something special for you." Hawking's eyes lit up. Finally, this was it. The moment he had been waiting for. Surely, Epstein had pitied him and arranged for the most beautiful virgin on the island to be sacrificed unto him, an honor only bestowed to the most prolific of their time. Hawking snapped out of his daydream. In front of him was a large yellow mini-submarine floating silently on the dark blue water. "Oh," Hawking said. "I thought you'd be more excited," yelled Epstein. "I had this bitch modded out so you could ride in it." "So we could ride in it. Together." He was so sincere, Hawking couldn't say no. Also, Hawking had no ability to escape, even if he wanted to. He was literally trapped in his chair, trapped in this body, and no bitches to show for it. And with that...
I hope they fucking bury you with that last sentence on your fucking grave.
And with that, Epstein lifted him up and stuffed him into the cramped submarine before climbing in after him and sealing the door. To Hawking's surprise, also in the submarine were Chris Tucker and Hillary Clinton. Apparently, she had been staying on the island waiting for Bill to finish with the conference, and the two of them would head to Saudi Arabia together the following day. Here's a picture of Hawking in the mini-sub. That's real.
That's Epstein's mini-sub?
That's Epstein's mini-sub.
Fine.
As thousands of rare tropical fish swam past the rounded windows of the sub, Hawking yawned. It was getting late. He became paranoid. Had they kept him busy all day just to deprive him of the island's most famous attraction? Bill would do something like that. He glanced over at Hillary, who was injecting a small vial into her neck. She smiled genuinely at him. He always liked Hillary more than Bill. He yawned again. Before he drifted off to sleep, Hawking could vaguely hear Epstein yammering on about a herd of whales that was swimming alongside the sub. As the submarine approached the dock, a handful of girls gathered by the pier waiting to receive the boat's occupants. Hawking could feel himself moving, but he knew he wasn't in his chair. He looked up. Epstein was carrying him like a father carrying a child who had fallen asleep watching TV. In his sleepy haze. I got it. In his sleepy haze, he vaguely was able to process the faces of the women as he was carried past them and back to his chair on a deck near the main house. Here's a picture of him on a deck at the main house surrounded by women asleep in his chair.
Okay.
As the party raged around him and wild orgies echoed throughout the property, Dr. Stephen Hawking slept soundly in his chair, occasionally having his body manipulated so guests could take pictures with him. And there's the picture.
Oh, God.
And that, my friends, is the story of Stephen Hawking traveling to Epstein Island.
Oh, well, that's I didn't think I'd hear about Stephen Hawking's dick so much today, I gotta say.
The crazy thing is that he actually did go to fucking Epstein Island.
Yeah,
like,
he did. Yeah, he did.
That's the craziest shit in the world.